Salih Mtsashiwa was born in a time of great change, a period marked by the shifting sands of history and the blending of diverse cultures. The Comoros, his homeland, was a melting pot of cultures, a place where traditions from different parts of the world came together in a harmonious blend. Arab, African, and French influences intertwined, creating a unique cultural tapestry that was both rich and complex. Mtsashiwa's upbringing instilled in him a deep love for his heritage, a profound respect for the customs and traditions that had been passed down through generations. He was fascinated by the island's history, its languages, and its traditions, often spending hours listening to the elders recount tales of the past. Little did he know, he would become a guardian of this heritage, a protector of the cultural legacy that defined his people. Mtsashiwa was born in 1932, a year that would mark the beginning of a journey that would see him rise to prominence. His birthplace was Mtsashiwa, a small village on the island of Grande Comore, a place known for its scenic beauty and tranquil environment. The village, nestled amidst lush greenery and overlooking the Indian Ocean, was a world away from the political turmoil brewing in distant lands. Yet it was not immune to the winds of change. Yet, even in this tranquil setting, the winds of change were blowing, bringing with them new ideas and challenges that would shape the future of the islands. The Comoros, an archipelago off the coast of East Africa, had long been a crossroads of civilizations, a place where different cultures met and mingled. Traders, explorers, and settlers from across the Indian Ocean had left their mark on the islands, contributing to its rich and diverse cultural heritage. This confluence of cultures resulted in a unique and vibrant society, one that was both resilient and adaptable. Yet this cultural richness was under threat, as external forces sought to impose their own ways and erode the traditional values of the Comorian people. Mtsashiwa's childhood was steeped in the stories of his ancestors, tales that were filled with lessons of courage, resilience, and the importance of preserving one's heritage. He heard tales of brave sultans who had resisted foreign domination, stories that filled him with a sense of pride and a determination to protect his culture. These stories ignited a fire in his heart, a fire that would burn brighter with each passing year, driving him to become a leader who would stand up for his people. He learned about the arrival of the French, their gradual takeover of the islands, and the imposition of their rule, understanding the challenges that lay ahead for his homeland. Imagine a place where the scent of cloves hangs heavy in the air. This is the Comoros, a group of islands in the Indian Ocean. Arab traders drawn by the lucrative spice trade established a strong presence. They brought with them their language, their religion, and their customs. Over time they intermarried with the local population, creating a unique Afro-Arab society. The islands were a melting pot of cultures. African traditions brought by Bantu migrants from the mainland also flourished. These traditions were evident in the music, the dance, and the oral histories passed down through generations. The islands pulsated with a rhythm all their own. Then came the French. They arrived in the 19th century, their eyes set on the island's strategic location. The French sought to expand their colonial empire. The Comoros, with its proximity to vital trade routes, became a prime target. French colonialism cast a long shadow over the Comoros. The French administration imposed its language, its laws, and its culture on the islands. They exploited the island's resources, particularly the lucrative clove industry. The Comorians found themselves increasingly marginalized in their own land. French rule brought about significant changes. The French language became the language of administration. Western education was introduced. The French legal system was imposed. Traditional power structures were undermined. The French sought to assimilate the Comorian people into their colonial mold. The Comorians, however, clung fiercely to their identity. They resisted assimilation, preserving their language, their traditions, and their way of life. They understood that their culture was their strength, their shield against the homogenizing forces of colonialism. Salih Mtsashiwa witnessed firsthand the impact of French colonialism. He saw the erosion of his culture, the exploitation of his people, and the denial of their basic rights. He felt the injustice deeply. It fueled his desire for change. Mtsashiwa knew that education was key. He pursued higher education, a path that led him to Madagascar. There, he encountered other young minds grappling with the realities of colonialism. They discussed ideas of liberation and self-determination. These encounters were formative, shaping his political consciousness and solidifying his resolve to fight for his homeland. Section 4. A Spark of Resistance. Mtsashiwa's time in Madagascar was a turning point. It was here that he witnessed firsthand the fervor and determination of a people yearning for freedom. He realized that the Comoros was not alone in its struggle. Across the continent, nations were rising up demanding their right to self-governance. Across Africa, the winds of change were blowing. The spirit of resistance was palpable, and it was only a matter of time before the old colonial powers would have to relinquish their hold. The era of colonialism was coming to an end. The once unchallenged empires were now facing the undeniable force of a united people. Inspired by these movements, Mtsashiwa returned to the Comoros. He carried with him the lessons learned and the hope that his homeland could also break free from the chains of colonial rule. He was determined to ignite the flame of resistance in his homeland. He knew that the journey would be fraught with challenges, but his resolve was unwavering. Mtsashiwa understood that awareness was key to igniting resistance. He believed that an informed populace was a powerful force. He began organizing clandestine meetings, gathering people in secret locations. These gatherings became the breeding ground for revolutionary ideas and strategies. He spoke passionately about the need for independence, for self-determination, for the rights of the Comorian people to govern themselves. His speeches were not just words, they were a call to action. His words resonated with the people, many of whom harbored silent resentment towards French rule. The spark of resistance was beginning to catch fire. He knew that to challenge the might of the French Empire, he needed to unite his people. Unity was the cornerstone of any successful resistance movement. The Comoros, with its diverse ethnicities and regional differences, had often been fragmented. This fragmentation had been a tool of colonial rule, but Mtsashiwa saw it differently. Mtsashiwa saw this diversity not as a weakness, but as a potential strength. He believed that the varied cultures and traditions could come together to form a resilient and united front. Mtsashiwa embarked on a tireless campaign, traveling from village to village, meeting with elders and youth alike. His journey was not just physical but also symbolic of the unity he sought to build. He spoke their language, literally and figuratively, connecting with them on a personal level. His ability to relate to the common people made him a beloved figure. He emphasized the shared history, the common culture, and the collective aspirations of the Comorian people. By highlighting what united them, he fostered a sense of shared destiny and purpose. Section 5. Mtsashiwa's Vision, Independence and Identity. Mtsashiwa's message was simple yet powerful. The Comoros belonged to the Comorians. He envisioned an independent Comoros, free from the shackles of colonialism. He dreamed of a nation that celebrated its cultural diversity while forging a common destiny. He believed in the power of the people to determine their own future. His message resonated particularly with the younger generation. They saw in Mtsashiwa a leader who understood their aspirations for a better future. Students, teachers, and young professionals flocked to his cause. They became the foot soldiers of his movement, spreading his message far and wide. Mtsashiwa's vision extended beyond political independence. He recognized that true freedom encompassed cultural and economic liberation as well. He believed in preserving the rich tapestry of Comorian culture, protecting its languages, its traditions, and its heritage. He understood that an independent Comoros needed to be economically self-reliant. He advocated for the development of local industries, for fair trade practices, and for an end to the exploitation of Comorian resources. He believed in empowering his people, in giving them the tools to control their own economic destiny. Mtsashiwa's vision was born out of the harsh realities of colonial rule, where the Comorian people were subjugated and their resources exploited. He saw the potential in the land and its people, a potential that had been stifled for too long. Mtsashiwa believed that true independence meant more than just political freedom. It meant the ability to make decisions that would benefit the Comorian people. He emphasized the importance of involving all segments of society, including women and children, in the nation-building process. Education and skill development were at the heart of his vision, as he knew that an informed and skilled populace was essential for the nation's progress. He encouraged sustainable practices in agriculture and fishing, understanding that the nation's natural resources were its lifeblood. Mtsashiwa also foresaw the importance of renewable energy, advocating for projects that would harness the power of the sun and wind to fuel the nation's growth. He believed that a strong cultural identity was crucial for national unity, and he promoted the celebration of Comorian heritage through festivals and storytelling. Mtsashiwa's vision included fostering entrepreneurship, encouraging young Comorians to innovate and create businesses that would drive the economy forward. He sought to position Comoros on the global stage, advocating for fair trade agreements that would benefit the local economy and ensure that Comorian products reached international markets. Ultimately, Mtsashiwa's vision was one of unity and progress, a vision where every Comorian had a role to play in shaping the future of their nation. His legacy lives on, inspiring generations to continue the work he started, to strive for a Comoros that is truly independent, culturally rich and economically vibrant.